In this video, let's look into how you can monitor database activity for active data guard configurations of Oracle database in DataSave. Oracle Data Guard ensures high availability, data protection, and disaster recovery for enterprise data. During normal operations, Data Guard replicates transactions from primary to the standby site via redo, keeping both databases exactly in sync. If the production database becomes unavailable, Data Guard can switch any standby database to the primary role, minimizing the downtime associated with the outage. Note that the standby site is used only under two circumstances. First, it regularly ingests the transactions being sent over, and secondly, it only takes on workloads when the primary site fails. This is typical of an active-passive configuration. The Active Data Guard option is an evolution of Data Guard technology that incorporates significant innovation designed for a specific purpose to improve production database performance for critical transactions. Active Data Guard enables read-only access to a physical standby database while redo applies active. Queries and reports can be offloaded from the production system to a synchronized physical standby database. During regular operations, Active Data Guard allows us to open up the standby site to take on workloads such as reporting analytics, backups, queries, and as of database version 19c, occasional write workloads as well. All of these workloads would otherwise be consuming valuable resources on our primary production site. This is typical of an active-active configuration. We are putting the standby site to work, but not as full production site. Since Active Data Guard opens up the standby database for read-write workloads, most regulatory and compliance requirements emphasize the need to monitor database activity on the standby databases too. Now let me give you a brief insight into the mechanism within Oracle database that enables us to collect audit records from all databases in Active Data Guard configuration without introducing any duplicates. The unified audit records within Oracle database is written to a table in the odds schema called odd$unified. When the database is not writable, for instance when the database is closed, or is read-only, as is in the case of standby databases in Active Data Guard, the Oracle database writes the audit records to external operating system spillover bin files. The default location of these spillover bin files are in Oracle base directory as shown here. The unified audit records are collected using the view Unified Audit Trail, which is in fact a union all of the database table and the view $Unified Audit Trail. The audit data of the spillover bin files is presented in $view. So essentially, when Unified Audit Trail is queried, it automatically fetches the audit records from the database table and the spillover bin files. Now consider an Active Data Guard setup with one primary and two standby databases. Unified audit records generated in the database table on primary gets transported to standby databases as part of redo apply. Thus, audit records R1 to R4 generated in the primary database is available in each of the two standby databases. Individual standby databases may have audit records generated in OS spillover bin files. Now, if you have a target for each database of the Active Data Guard configuration in Database Activity Monitoring Solutions, collecting audit records from the Unified Audit Trail in each of these databases will bring up redundant audit records from the database table. So the records R1 to R4 indicated in red are redundantly collected from all standby database targets in addition to the spillover bin files relevant to the specific database. To avoid redundant audit record collection in Active Data Guard, we have introduced a new column source in Unified Audit Trail to differentiate the origin of audit records. The value of file in source column refers to the records from the operating system spillover bin files. Value of database in the source column refers to the audit records from the database table. Now let's see how the new column source helps avoid the redundant audit record collection in Active Data Guard configuration. The entire Active Data Guard configuration with one primary and multiple standby databases will be monitored as a single target. There will be multiple audit trails for the single target referring to Unified Audit Trail view. There will be audit trails to collect from spillover bin files for each database, with Unified Audit Trail queried by source equal to file. There will be a single audit trail to collect from database table of the primary database, with Unified Audit Trail queried by source equal to database. The primary database is identified by failover connection string with role-based database service pointing to the database with primary role. So for an active data guard configuration with n databases, you will find n plus 1 unified audit trails with n trails for collecting from spillover bin file locations for n databases and 1 trail from the database table of the primary database. And as you see here, there are no duplicate audit records. Leveraging the source column value in Unified Audit Trail view, DataSafe enables monitoring of the entire active data guard configuration with a single primary database and multiple standby databases as a single target with multiple Unified Audit Trails. Now let's see the demo from the DataSafe console. Here we have two Oracle-based database service DB systems in active data guard configuration, a primary and a single standby. Once you register in DataSafe, it shows up as a single target with two peers pointing to each of the database in active data guard configuration. The audit profile for the target shows 3 unified audit trails auto-discovered for this configuration. 2 of them pointing to audit records from the spillover bin files indicated by file flag, and 1 of them pointing to audit record from the database table of the primary indicated by table flag. Now in audit trails page, you can see and start the audit trails to commence the collection of audit events. In trail details page, trail source flag will indicate if the source is file or table. If it is file, you will also see the DB unique name of the corresponding database. Now let me show you by triggering real-time audit events for a user. I have an audit policy tracking log on, log off for the user in primary database. If I happen to connect to the session as the audited user, you will see the audit records generated with source equal to database, and these records are fetched from the database table as shown here. The $GV view showing spillover file audit entries shows no records on the primary database. Now let me show you the same thing from the standby database. Audit policies created in the primary database is applied via redo to the standby database. And also the 2 audit records from the primary database table is applied via redo to the standby database table. Hence you're seeing these 2 audit records in Unified Audit Trail view with source equal to database. Now if I happen to connect to the session as the audited user, you will see the audit records generated in the standby database with source equal to file. And these records are fetched from the $GV view, which represents the audit entries in spillover file. Now let's see these audit events in DataSafe login activity report once it's collected. For the audited DB user for a single active data guard target, we see the audit records from both primary database and standby database identified by their DB unique name. The logon audit event from the primary comes from the database table, and the logon audit event from the standby comes from the spillover files. If you wish, you can further filter by database unique name to show for a single database in the active data guard target. So in summary, with this feature in DataSafe, we provide you with the flexibility to monitor database activity of all databases in active data guard configuration and help demonstrate compliance to regulatory and security requirements. Thank you.